Fate has been a major point in Naruto, and has been referenced through many characters, including the two main characters. Naruto is often given lots of unfair criticism for the supposed contradiction to those ideas of hard work beating natural talent, because he had everything he needed and was destined to be where he is today. But I thought I should dive deeper into it because Naruto had never contradicted that narrative, and I'm here to prove it. And as always, I will be starting from the beginning. Neji and Lee are basically the introduction to this genius versus hard work philosophy, and many give Lee a lot of crap for in the end losing to Neji and Gaara, while Neji died protecting the main branch like his fate at birth determined, when that's really not the case. Let me explain. Lee's goal has always been to prove that even without ninjutsu, someone can still prove to be a great ninja, one that's not taken lightly. That all was made clear in his fight against Gaara. While he lost, he did prove to be a splendid ninja as he initially intended. In the end, he was the first person to ever injure Gaara, going past the defense set by what I'd assume is a Jonin, aka his mother, who has a Kekkei Genkai from a Biju, I'm talking about Gaara, and a genius himself, gaining the respect of the likes of Guy and Kakashi, who revealed his Sharingan to track his movements, and still considered him fast. Hard work did pay off, but he ultimately used a self-sacrificing jutsu. The damage done to his body was mostly by opening the gates, not from Gaara, as his arm and leg healed with time. So this message wasn't contradicted. Lee did manage to show everyone the result of his hard work as a user of only taijutsu. With Neji, it's a bit different. It has more to do with destiny than hard work versus natural talent. What is usually brought up is how Neji died protecting the main branch just as it was destined for him, among other things like the prophecy, which I'll get into later. What flew over people's heads is that Neji actually, by dying protecting Hinata, managed to defy his own fate. As contradictory as that sounds, hear me out. Here is why Neji's death was genius. No pun intended. In the Chunin exams, we see why Neji was so hung up on fate and how it's set in stone the moment you're born, as his father was destined to die simply for being born second to the first twin, who ended up being of the main branch, while his father Hisashi's only purpose was to protect him, even at the cost of his own life. A caged bird is what the curse mark on his forehead symbolizes, sealing his fate till the moment he dies, and that's when the mark disappears. That's when he is free. Now I know the match between him and Naruto could have been better. The point of the win wasn't that Naruto had Kyuubi, but to show Neji that his most used jutsu is one that he failed at a couple of times. After his match with Naruto, Hisashi tells Neji about the story of how his father died, how Hisashi died not protecting the main branch, but choosing to protect his brother. He died of his own free will, not of obligation, and in his final moments, Neji understood that feeling of freedom to choose to die for your loved ones as a choice, not duty. That's why Neji's death was well done. The cover illustration of the volume also shows him with wings of flames, representing the caged bird finally free.
諦めねえ。それこそがわしの取るべき本当の選択だった。
The subplot of the prophecy is also something that is brought up a lot, and a common misconception is that the prophecy is Naruto's, but it's actually Jiraiya's. The whole prophecy isn't about the child, but about the choices Jiraiya makes in order to groom that child to become either the bringer of stability or destruction. And here's the thing about the prophecy. It's not that it happens because Gamamaru sees it, but the opposite. Gamamaru sees it because it happens. Let me explain. What Gamamaru saw was that Jiraiya would travel a lot and would take on many students. One of those students was either gonna change the world by destroying it or stabilizing it. And knowing that, Jiraiya decided to pursue that prophecy for it to come true. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. In other words, it was fated for Jiraiya to train the child of prophecy, but it was Jiraiya who had to walk the path to fulfill it. So there is no guarantee, no conclusion is 100%, and apparently Gamamaru only sees possibilities, not necessarily the exact thing, or at least not the conclusion of an event. For example, he foresaw Jiraiya training students, but not how they turn out. He foresaw Naruto would fight Sasuke, but not who'd win, which I'll get into later. From what we know, the child of prophecy was gonna be Nagato, Minato, or Naruto, or possibly even Conan. There was no telling for sure, to begin with, but Jiraiya focused on Nagato and Minato because they were exceptionally gifted. Once Jiraiya met Nagato, he realized he is most likely the child of prophecy, and his choice would determine the change to the world. Jiraiya thought his decision was supposed to be to kill Nagato, but he failed at that and thought the prophecy to be fulfilled through destruction. But then he realized there was one more child that he hasn't considered yet. That's Naruto, and his decision was to not give up and trust Naruto with his mission by relaying the information he gained, and that's how he changed not the prophecy, but who the possible child of prophecy could be. To make it more clear, Nagato was the child of prophecy the moment Jiraiya was dying. Once Jiraiya decided not to give up, Naruto became the child of prophecy who was gonna prevent the destruction of the previous possible child of prophecy, thus bringing stability to the world. In other words, the prophecy was destined to be fulfilled, except with the decisions made by Jiraiya which he carefully chose. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the reincarnation reveal thing, but to think that this was meant to 100% happen is absurd to me, considering Hashirama and Madara were also reincarnations and were almost nothing like Naruto and Sasuke. There are similarities, but again, there were similarities between them and Jiraiya and Orochimaru or Kakashi and Obito, and that's as far as it goes. Just because they're reincarnations of Indra and Ashura doesn't mean anything. Hell, the Sage of Six Paths didn't reveal himself to Hashirama or Madara either, and they're reincarnations, which I'll probably make a video on someday. The reincarnation stuff goes only as far as their ideologies from what we've seen, but only on Ashura's part, because Madara and Sasuke are completely different, so that might not even be a factor. And I don't even know how people missed this, but apparently Ashura fought Indra. We don't know the outcome of the match. Either they both died together or Ashura killed Indra. Doesn't matter, because Hashirama killed Madara, so in case the same happened with Indra and Ashura, Naruto was destined to kill Sasuke. But he didn't. He ended that cycle. Well, what about Kyuubi? Naruto had it since birth. Isn't that kind of proof of Neji's point, since he had him at birth? No, actually, there were many Jinchuriki of Kyuubis, and Naruto happened to be the one to befriend him. Then again, that was Gamamaru's prophecy for Hagoromo, and I already explained why the prophecy doesn't contradict anything. Naruto in fact did well despite having Kyuubi, who hindered his progress, injured him, shortened his lifespan. He's literally considered the embodiment of hate. In the end, he managed to get rid of that hate, and they became teammates. Naruto is just inspiring, and that's what everybody needs to accept. Neji's ideology was that if you're a loser at birth, you'll die a loser. He treated Lee the same way, but that wasn't true, because Naruto wasn't a loser by the time the series ended. I'm not gonna pretend like I like the writing of the reincarnation stuff, Naruto and Sasuke's friendship, or that Naruto is perfect, but from what I've provided, I think I can safely conclude that Naruto remained true to its message that it was trying to convey. And Kishimoto, despite the low points in the series, is truly a great writer. In the end, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, please, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.